In this podcast episode, Bill Thompson, a former military-trained hacker and human intelligence operator, provides an extensive overview of government surveillance, offensive cyber operations, and intelligence gathering. The discussion ranges from technical hacking exploits to the complexities of recruiting human sources, the interplay of AI and cybersecurity, the challenges within government bureaucracy, and the ethical and philosophical challenges surrounding surveillance. Bill also shares insights about his current entrepreneurial work in geospatial intelligence and hunting technology. Bill explains the legal and operational backdrop of government surveillance programs, emphasizing how laws like the Patriot Act, originally designed around telephone infrastructure, have been adapted to encompass digital communications. The Patriot Act's language cleverly uses infrastructure to future-proof against emerging technologies, granting extensive surveillance powers, often without stringent oversight. Courts such as FISA operate in secrecy and provide minimal transparency, approving surveillance with limited public knowledge, which Bill highlights as a critical challenge in balancing national security and civil liberties. Bill contrasts Android's open-source nature with Apple's closed ecosystem in the context of security and vulnerability research. He points out that Android's availability as AOSP, Android Open Source Project, allows governments and researchers to investigate the operating system more thoroughly, facilitating forensic analysis, especially in hostile environments or high-risk travel scenarios. Apple's security model, while more restrictive and perceived as more secure due to its closed architecture, is less transparent, complicating independent audits and investigations. Delving into his military training, Bill shares nuanced knowledge about human intelligence operations, focusing on recruitment tactics and the management of sources within adversarial environments. He details the selection criteria based on placement, access, motivation, and accessibility, the PAMA factors critical to successful source handling. Bill emphasizes that recruiting insiders is often a more cost-effective and accessible vector for intelligence compared to complex technical hacks. He also stresses the importance of artistry, patience, and psychological savvy in handling high-value sources amidst unpredictable circumstances. Bill sheds light on the inner workings of offensive cyber units within the military, revealing that budget execution often overrides operational effectiveness. Generals and commanders face intense pressure to spend allocated budgets fully, regardless of whether all funded projects produce meaningful results. This leads to inefficient allocation of resources, where the focus shifts to expenditure over intelligence impact. Bill juxtaposes this inefficiency with organizations like DARPA, which remain outliers in government innovation for pursuing high-risk, high-reward projects. Discussing specific hacking tools, Bill identifies Pegasus as one of the most significant persistent implants known to the public. Developed reportedly by Israeli intelligence, Pegasus can stealthily infiltrate mobile devices, exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities to gain ongoing access. He explains how initial versions required user interaction, phishing links, but evolved into more sophisticated, harder-to-detect malware. This underscores the sophistication of state-sponsored cyber tools and the complexities of defending against them. Bill narrates how adversaries adapt technologies to counteract military defenses, using examples like the shift from primitive IEDs to command-detonated devices exploiting specific frequency bands. He also highlights the emergence of inexpensive drones in conflicts like Ukraine, where low-cost aerial weapons challenge traditionally armored vehicles, prompting countermeasures such as physical nets and EMP blasts. This ongoing technological tug-of-war exemplifies the dynamic nature of modern asymmetric warfare. Bill offers insight into how artificial intelligence currently influences hacking, primarily speeding up processes like code generation and vulnerability discovery, though not yet revolutionizing the field. He discusses the components necessary for effective AI models: computation, vast training data, and appropriate algorithms, and notes that criminal and governmental actors likely train proprietary AI models without guardrails to scan codebases and identify exploitable weak points rapidly. Despite AI's power, many exploits still require human expertise to effectively weaponize and deploy. Bill notes that militaries and intelligence agencies possess advanced understanding of human behavior, particularly regarding source recruitment and interaction psychology. Effective operatives use a theory of mind that allows them to quickly identify motivations, detect deception, and maintain control in complex interpersonal scenarios. This skill set is not only analytical, but requires artistic flexibility under stress, allowing operators to navigate unpredictable environments while achieving mission goals. The episode explores the growing difficulty of recruiting high-level sources, Cat 1 targets, due to increased digital footprints and surveillance, which constrain traditional human intelligence methods. Bill describes organizational and operational adaptations, such as creating covert cover companies abroad to engage potential targets credibly and securely. He also comments on the importance of recruiting accessible individuals around influential figures rather than the figures themselves for practical intelligence collection. Bill offers critical perspectives on government agencies, describing them as self-licking ice cream cones, where programs sustain themselves by perpetuating the very problems they claim to address, such as white supremacy or terrorism. He elaborates on how government divisions may artificially inflate threats to justify budgets and maintain power structures. This internal dynamic complicates efforts to achieve genuine reform or efficiency, exacerbated by politicization and entrenched bureaucracies. Bill shares deeply personal reflections on his upbringing, motivations for joining the military, and his commitment to the American constitutional experiment. He expresses a belief in individual freedom, family, and purpose as cornerstones of a meaningful life and a healthy society. His perspective is grounded in appreciation for the opportunities provided by his country despite his difficult background. Transitioning to his current role, Bill introduces Spartan Forge, a company blending machine learning, geospatial intelligence, and high-resolution mapping technology to enhance the hunting experience. The platform combines AI-driven deer movement prediction, precise 5-centimeter imagery, LiDAR scans, and real-time collaboration tools to help hunters plan and execute hunts more effectively and safely. Bill's aim is to foster initiation rites, father-son bonding, and deeper human connection with nature through technological innovation, demonstrating a practical application of his intelligence and computational expertise beyond warfare. Bill comments on public perceptions of espionage and controlled opposition, citing examples like Jeffrey Epstein and political figures to illustrate how intelligence operations might exploit or distance themselves from controversial individuals. He clarifies that high-visibility figures are typically poor recruitment candidates due to surveillance and manageability concerns. Instead, intelligence services target more accessible individuals within an influential circle, balancing operational feasibility with intelligence value. Bill contrasts agencies like DARPA, praised for ambitious, innovative projects, with the majority of government bodies characterized by inefficiency, inertia, and political maneuvering. He recounts experiences advising offensive cyber teams where budget consumption was valued over actual mission accomplishment, revealing a systemic misalignment between goals and bureaucratic incentives. Finally, Bill discusses the challenges governments face in regulating and legislating rapidly evolving technologies. He highlights the talent gap between private sector innovators and government policymakers and the difficulties this gap creates for effective oversight. The conversation underscores the ongoing tension between technological acceleration and slow-moving legal frameworks.